Hey everyone! If you've been following along on our recent videos, you know that me and my mom just got back from the Bartram Trail. We did an 8-day hike, about 100 miles, and this was a good chance for me to finally try out my entire gear loadout. So I just wanted to give another update video about the gear and the food loadout. I had a few items that I realized that I really loved, and I had a few items that maybe not necessarily I would say I disliked them, but I realized I was unsure about them being in my loadout, and then some items I just didn't use at all. So I had one pretty significant change during the trip, and I will share that after going through my likes and dislikes. So my number one love that I realized on this trip and was hoping to realize on this trip is that I absolutely love my Durston X Mid Pro 2 tent. Now I bought that tent with the intention of Kyle and I both using it because it's a two-person tent. We kind of quickly realized that wasn't going to be doable because it's just not an incredibly large amount of space on the inside. You can make it work for two people, but I was hoping we would have a little more room than we did. So I'm happy to say that for a one-person tent to, have plenty of room for your sleep system, plenty of room for your gear and everything laid out and organized, I absolutely know that this is the tent for me. I do not need to look at tents anymore. I will overlay with a video showing how I had everything laid out and organized. I'm really happy with this setup, and I feel great about that tent staying in my gear. And any other hike that we do where I will be sleeping in my own tent by myself, that is going to be the tent that I use. If we do a through hike in the future, that is 100,000% going to be the tent that I use. Incredibly happy with it. I would say the second item that I really realized that I love and I had never used before was a fanny pack. So the packs that I've always had, which there's only been a couple, they always have hip belt pockets, and those are very useful. I've always thought that as long as I had hip belt pockets, I was good. I didn't need a fanny pack. After using this, I realize I am wrong, because this is a 3-liter Cotopaxi hip pack. And this thing holds so much. I had pills in here. I had my toilet paper, snacks for the day. At the beginning, I even had all my food for the day in here. My wallet, any knickknacks or, Band-Aids, the dry little towels if I needed any during the day. I mean, this thing came in handy every single day. This thing was amazing. So I don't even really care about the hip belt pockets anymore. What I put in there is going to be items that I don't need to touch at all. I can't recommend this enough. I think my mom was so surprised that I loved this so much, she's going to try it as well. Highly recommend a fanny pack. The third thing I realize I absolutely love is the umbrella. I had never used this before either. It had never been a part of my loadout, and I absolutely love it. So it's obviously convenient to have the umbrella in rain, but there are many reasons for that convenience. So I wear glasses. Someone pointed out, yeah, you don't have to wipe your glasses if you have the umbrella. Honestly, I didn't even think about that before, but that's a massive benefit. So I don't have to wipe my glasses. If I have this up, I may or may not need to have my rain jacket on. I will have my pack cover on if it's raining, but this covering the top of it ensures that nothing goes down, like between my back and the pack, nothing goes down in between. If I have this up, I can snack while I'm walking and not worry about, rain getting all over me trying to eat something. And I can take videos of the trail while I'm walking. So this is well worth it. This is well worth it. Now backtracking just a slight bit, going back to, the tent. I know y'all are probably tired of hearing about this Swedish dishcloth, But I love this thing. Part of my routine every morning, as soon as I got up, I would sit up. You know, I didn't want to touch any of the edges just in case there was a lot of condensation, but I'd reach up and see how much. Being single walled, number one, I expect that, but number two, it's really easily accessible to clean it up. So every time I would wake up, I would check, start wiping above my head so that when I sit up and I'm moving around, like my hat and jacket and everything I have on doesn't get wet. And then when I get situated, I wipe everything on the inside down with this. It wrings out like an insane amount of water. I just cannot recommend this enough. Amazon, you can get a 5-pack for like $15. It's worth it. Honestly, I'm gonna say those are like my favorite items in my gear loadout so far. I really like all my other things. I love my cinchie. I was comfortable with all the hiking clothes I had on. I love my shoes. But those 4 items really made a just big difference for me. Very happy with those. Next, I want to say a few things about the items that, again, I don't necessarily want to call them dislikes, but the unsures or the did not uses. So the water bottle situation, just to make it short, quick, and easy, I started with a 1 liter and a 1.5 liter. That was annoying. When we got to Franklin, I ditched the 1.5 liter bottle and I got 2 smaller ones. So I got a 23.7 and a 16.9. This is the one that I use to mix lemonade or electrolyte mixes, and this one just had fresh water. And then this one that I was drinking out of became the dirty water bottle. So just having a variety made it a lot easier to distribute the weight once one bottle ran out or anything like that. It was just a lot easier to deal with. And then a few items that were either switched out or did not use. Before I started, I just went ahead and switched to this. I was watching a video about hygiene on the trail, and the guy made a good point about not wanting any items in your loadout that's going to intentionally make you have to put your hands in your mouth. That makes complete sense to me, and I use hand sanitizer a lot on the trail, but I don't know, something about that really struck me with that little toothbrush, and I just decided to forego trying that and to just go back to this one. So I've used this for a while now, and I'm happy with that. The cup, I just found that I wasn't using it. I just drank my coffee and my broth out of my pot, and I didn't use this once. So I mailed that back when we got to Franklin, and I'm thinking I might just not have that in my loadout anymore. Deodorant. I already mentioned in my gear video that I don't really wear deodorant often, and I'm so sorry if that's nasty to people, but I just don't. It feels weird having something in my pits like that. So the only time I used this was the day that we were heading out to the trail. Like when we were at home, I put this on when I got dressed, and that's the only time I used this. So, whoops. When we got to Franklin, I mailed this home and didn't really think about it. So I also did not use this. I think that if you have a variety of, I don't know what you want to call them, charging cord things, then this is incredibly useful and you will use it. For me, my phone, my headlamp, and even the charger block, the anchor battery, uses USB-C. So there just wasn't really, I had absolutely no need for this. I'm not even sure why I thought I would use it when nothing needed anything else. So didn't use this. And now I get to the biggest change that I made. So many of you may have seen the food loadout. That was a mistake for me. I had been eating like that, like higher fat, lower carb for a few weeks. And, you know, a lot of people say that you want higher fat when you're on the trail because you're burning more fat than carbs. And to a certain degree, I'm sure that's true. I believe that to be true, but I think I went a little overboard because I was completely drained. I think if you're the type of person who eats like that normally, whether it's keto, carnivore, whatever, like if you already do that in your normal life and you're used to it and you do physical activity and it doesn't negatively impact your performance, by all means go for it. That's not me. I should have known better, to be honest. And I completely admit that that did not work for me. That was a terrible food loadout. When we went up Jarrett Bald and the break that we took before we started that climb, I probably ate about 1,000 calories. And we started going up, and I'm telling you, I had nothing in me. I had like nothing in me. It was a little concerning. So when we got to Franklin, the whole reason that I wanted to do the box, ship it home from their hostel, the biggest reason I wanted to do that is because of the carnivore bars. I will fully admit I bought a 24 pack and they are expensive. I don't mind if I believe in the quality. If I trust the quality of a product, I don't mind necessarily spending a little more. But I bought a 24 pack. I had a 20% discount code because I'm prior military. But I still probably spent like $260 on those 24 bars. And I think the item itself is great for normal life or for, travel, hiking. The problem is I overdid it. And all that fat and no carbs the first 3 days, I just could not eat another one of those. When we hiked the foothills last year, I had one carnivore bar every day for dinner, or I included it in my dinner meal. I had no problems having one every single day, but I think having 2 or 3 in conjunction with only fat sources, I could not eat another bite of that. And so because they're so expensive, I just could not bear to put those in the hiker box. I'm sorry, I just could not do that. So I mailed those home specifically because they're expensive. But the resupply was my biggest change during the hike. And I went to ramen and mashed potatoes and tortillas and peanut butter and jelly. And I will say this is not what I would consider like an extremely healthy loadout. I'm sure there are a lot worse than this, but in the future I will probably choose a little bit healthier items than this, but this is what I had for the second half of the trail, and I would be lying if I didn't say that I felt a lot better. Like I had sustained energy. I was actually able to go uphill for longer periods without taking a breather. Like it was like night and day. So if you don't know that your body thrives with the high fat, low carb thing, do not do a hike like that. I'm telling you, you will feel like garbage. I was fine on the downhill or the flat, but I'm telling you, anytime we started going uphill, I completely was drained. So that's it. Those are my big gear and food updates from the Bartram Trail. I would like to make another video on the Bartram, maybe one last video detailing like tips and, information on the map, because I personally could not find a lot of information before we went out there. If anyone's interested in that, let me know. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a great day and a great weekend, and I'm hoping to be out on the trail again soon. All right, bye.